Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier. If you could help me out greatly by subscribing to the channel, hitting a like on the video, and hit that bell notification so we let you know when we go live. Thought I'd jump on tonight and do a little short show about this whole Man City situation. And I have to say from the outset of the show that a lot of the charges that are there, they're just alleged. And what we talk about is alleged. And, if we go deep into assuming Man City are found guilty, they're only assumptions and all that kind of thing. But there's a lot to really unpack in this. And it's hard to know where to start. As the news broke yesterday morning, it was quite shocking, and it was somewhat a little bit overshadowed then by Jesse Marsh losing his job. And we should have a show tomorrow night for you as well. Is the sacking of Jesse Marsh harsh, is what we're going to call it. We're going to have a look at Jesse Marsh's record at Leeds, have a chat about what he did, some of the results and stuff like that, and do we believe it was the right time for Leeds to make that decision? We'll unpack that for you tomorrow night. Again, another short show. We're churning out serious content at the moment. I think last month, I think it was somewhere in the region of 23 hours of content we put out in the month of January up to and including the 5th or 6th of February or something like that. So from the 5th to the 5th is how it runs. But yeah, I thought I'd come on and just share my thoughts. I was sitting in bed last night, lying down, and I was thinking, this isn't sitting with me well at all. And it's, we can talk about the trophies, we can talk about, the titles that should be awarded to the other teams and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of stuff we can talk about, and we will, and share our views on that. And again, if you're in the chat and you want to share your views, come in, let me know what your thoughts are on this and stuff like that. But then, we're hearing as well that this is going to take a bit of time. This is going to be quite a long, drawn out process, could take a couple of years. And, we're hearing now that Man City have lawyered up in a very serious way, which means they're looking for the Johnny Cochran treatment on this, dare I say the OJ Simpson treatment on this. And I just think it's a weird one at the moment, because you've got a lot of mud flinging at the moment in relation to this. A lot of Man City fans coming onto socials and coming onto various different channels and stuff talking about, oh, well, what about Chelsea and stuff like that and all. And the mudslinging is a little bit outrageous, really, when your own house is under such question. And when we look at this and we look at the breakdown and stuff like that, we're not talking about 5 breaches. We're not talking about 10 breaches. We're not talking about a mistake that a new guy in the financial department got wrong. We're not talking about like an extra bonus or a full stop being left off the canteen staff's contract. These are very, very serious allegations. As we've seen in the UEFA investigation, which kind of went to the CASTA Court of Arbitration Sport, and kind of was whittled down and watered down, which was concerning in itself, really, how it was handled. And obviously there was a bar put on that you can only go back so many years and stuff like this. But this one is going to run from 2009. I suppose you could argue right till it ends. So yeah, I'd like, if you're in the chat tonight, to get your thoughts on it and stuff like that. But some serious allegations out there in relation to this. And I really think, the Premier League tends to pride itself on its moral compass and all that kind of stuff, and its rules and its regulations, and the taking of action and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of mudslinging there does be done as well, looking at like the Spanish league, and we've seen it with Barcelona and the mess that they were in and somewhat still are in. And we've seen it now with Juventus again, going back to the well again, somewhat slightly different, but in a different way. And how we frown upon that, and how we talk about how the effect of what's going on at Juventus and how it ripples down through the league and sets a precedent, and, tars, teams in that league with the same brush type of thing and all, and asks questions and all that kind of thing. And here we have a situation in our own backyard in the Premier League, where we've over 100 breaches in terms of financial fair play and the rules and all that kind of stuff to be answered. Um, and it's looking very, very difficult as to how you kind of you could pick up a defense for that. And I know, look, some of the breaches I know they talk about, like length of grass and all that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about the more serious ones. I'm talking about, you know, a manager being paid by, dare I say, two companies that really is one, for argument's sake. I'm talking about sponsorship money being, you know, filtered through sponsors from owners back into owners. Um, and I just think it's a real it's a real slur at the moment, and it didn't sit well with me last night insofar as I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, you know, I first of all thought about two movies, and the first one I thought was Back to the Future, where Marty goes back in time, and Doc Brown tells him not to interact with anyone when he goes back in time, because it could alter the course of history. And I kind of felt like this as well, that like if you could get an almanac that he has in the movie and jump into a DeLorean, hit the 88 miles an hour or whatever it is, and shoot back to 2009 and alter the course of football history. And then I was thinking of the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, and I was thinking, as football fans for the last 14 years, you know, regardless of what your feeling is, Man City have played some scintillating football. They've broken some scintillating records. They provided their fans and neutral fans with some crazy moments. We remember the Aguero goal and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, most neutral fans would have absolutely gone ballistic at that Aguero goal, at the fact that, like, if you're not a Man United fan, to see that title being dragged away from them in such a fashion, for rival fans, I'm sure was heartwarming. But little did we know, X amount of years on, that the whole situation is just kind of tainted. Um, and it gave me a real weird feeling. That's why I mentioned the Truman Show. Like, we've been living in this world of football fans for 14 years, and make no mistake about it, if you're a football fan and you're all in on your team, it's a big part of your life. It's a big part of your passion. It takes up a lot of your time, regardless of whether you're like me or whoever else as a content creator. But just as being a football fan, and the amount of time you pour into it week on week. And if you're certainly a fan of the bigger teams, you know, you're invested in matches 2-3 times a week. And on top of that, I used to do some coaching as well for local teams and stuff like that. So I was immersed in football. And I just think it didn't sit right with me at all. That I felt that, like what Jim Carrey does, he eventually finds out and uncovers the fact that he's in this parallel world that's kind of like a show, and suddenly he just opens this door and walks through it into the real world. And that's what it kind of felt like last night. And let me know as well in the comments. Let me know if you think this is like being blown up in any way and stuff like that, and how you feel about it, you know. Let me know what you think the punishment should be. Well, first of all, let me know what you think the punishment might be, and then let me know what you think your punishment would be if it was you sitting on the committee looking at this and stuff like that, you know. Let me take some comments first before we go any further, because they fill up pretty quick. Eno's in. What's the crack, Niall? All good, Eno. Good to hear from you, man. Watching on the flat screen, bro. I wouldn't have it any other way. Hope I look all right for the flat screen. Just a little tip, guys, today, by the way, as well. I was in Lidl earlier today, and I came across these bad boys, these Coca-Cola glasses. They're in the shape of the cans. Really, really cool. Well worth a purchase. This isn't the shopping channel, though. Morris is in the comments. I'd imagine this will be a points deduction to come in from the start of next season. Question is how many. Yeah, but like the problem, and I said this before, Morris, the problem with that is you could probably deduct them 20 points, and they're probably still capable of making top four, because it'll be them against the world. and that'll get them going, and it'll motivate them and stuff like that. And look, Pep loves a challenge, but the problem is with this, and we'll talk about it as well. Pep has made it very clear if he's lied to, and if any of these charges come to light, he's out of there. So it's going to test his mettle as well, in terms of, is he true to his word? Did he know about any of it? Was he aware of it? And certainly you look at yesterday's little sort of pantomime dress rehearsal about it, like kind of like, we are so surprised with these charges. You must be the only people on the planet that are surprised at these charges, because everyone else, including myself as a fan, has sat back and seen the elevation of Man City and what has happened, to the point where they could probably feel 2 11s that will come first and second. So interesting. Acers is in. West Brom manager signed a new contract tonight. Leeds will be devastated. Yeah, absolutely. Simple. City should just be regulated and transfer banned for 5 years. Relegated, I presume that is. Eno's back in as well. 2 new fans of the Upper Tier podcast, my 2 daughters, Alison and Alexandra. Shout out to both you girls. Hope you're having a good time there with your dad at the moment. Make sure you're behaving for him. And Acer, City should be relegated straight away and transfer ban. Yeah. See, the issue something's after coming out on this tonight as well, which is an interesting one as well. And that's why this is not a simple thing where this can't be just brushed away. This can't be just handled in a certain way. At the moment, we're operating in a league, in the Premier League, where there's a lot of new owners in there with huge wealth. You know, the Saudi Arabia one at Newcastle. Obviously, Man City's been in place for a while. Chelsea now have their new owners and investments. A lot of money going in there as well. Liverpool potentially about to be sold. Man United potentially about to be sold. Various other clubs in there have been taken over with rich owners and stuff like that. And most owners in the Premier League, I think I was reading today, is it 18 out of 20 are billionaires? So that's the level that you're dealing with. So this can't be, a playground for the rich and wealthy to just toss away the rules and do whatever they want. It doesn't work that way. So there has to be some sort of, all the federations and all the Premier League and all that thing, they talk about respect. They talk about fair play. They talk about grassroots football. They talk about developing the game from the bottom up and all this kind of thing. So there's an onus on them to protect the sport at the very highest level. So action will have to be taken. Again, I emphasize alleged, if proven. And we're talking in conversations here about at the latter end, if these things are proven. Ian back in the comments, how you doing, Morris? Good fella. And Morris, Pep knows what's going on. He's playing a clever card. That would be kind of my thinking as well, Morris. And I'll tell you why, because it's an interesting one as well, and something that came up today that I started thinking about, So first of all, you have the allegations, of course, the breaches, if you want, and they're going to have to be answered and proven or disproven. But one of the questions I asked myself today was, how deep does this run? And you think about Mancini's contract and what came out about that and stuff like that, which is just crazy. And then you think about, how deep does this go down? Is there knowledge base out there in relation to this? Does this filter down to players? Does this filter down to agents? Does this filter down a lot of the financial departments surrounding Man City or the company or whatever it is? And those kind of questions all have to be looked at as well. And should these people be allowed, if this is proven, should these people be allowed to just continue on and that the club is sanctioned? Because someone somewhere signed off on this stuff, and somewhere signed off on that stuff. So a lot of this stuff at a very high level requires multiple signatures. And are we supposed to be naive enough or led to believe that Roberto Mancini's agent didn't know the setup of the deal? Are we supposed to be that naive again? Has it been proven or has it been looked at? And should that agent, if he is, should he still be operating in the circle? And it goes unnoticed. If that's the case, and if it was proven. The same with the financial department. The same with, if there's an issue with players knowingly knew there was something a little bit off in relation to their contracts or player wages and all that kind of stuff. If they knowingly knew this was going on, where does it leave those players? Are they bringing the game into disrepute? And it's just how deep does this go? So when I was talking about it last night in the Monday matchup with Darren, I made the point that this is so much bigger than just where titles and trophies should end up and land. So much bigger than financial repercussions. So much bigger than the deduction of points. So much bigger than just a team being relegated. And I was thinking about it today, and as this drags on, and this is probably one for you, Morris, or anyone else, Arsenal fans in the chat and stuff like that. What happens this season if Man City win the league and Arsenal come second? And that's what I was thinking about today. Like, whatever about the other trophies and how you feel, and we've seen this is financial doping if it's proven. And not dissimilar to doping in other sports, just at a drug level or something like that. We reference, of course, Lance Armstrong and, of course, Ben Johnson. And, of course, sending those titles and trophies to the second place teams or whatever it is where they should land is one thing. But the stealing of the moment is another, which can't be replaced. Like if Brendan Rodgers was to be awarded a Premier League title through Liverpool in that season, and Steven Gerrard was to get a Premier League medal and stuff like that. Okay, you might be able to fix some of that stuff, but that moment won't be there. Likewise, on the flip side for Man City, when they lifted those trophies are now tainted. So you might want to say in your own mind, yeah, we've won the Premier League this amount of times, and Carabao Cups and whatever it is. But the reality is it's tainted. And when you look, the example I gave, I was talking about when Ben Johnson won the 100 metres, it was unbelievable. What a moment in sport. And little did we know a number of days later or whatever it was, that whole thing is tainted. And now that moment in sport is known for being the drug cheat and the tainted moment in athletics. And a tainted moment in athletics that led to a whole lot more in athletics as well. And it's really, really important that we remember that. So where some people have been saying in relation to the trophies and the titles and stuff like that and where they land, that you can't replace that moment. Absolutely. But some sort of a rewriting of history here needs to be done in connection with this, depending on what gets proven or disproven and the level at which it's at. But it won't give you that sensational feeling, it won't give you like if you think of say Arsenal fans this season who are riding the crest of a wave, unbelievable what they're doing. Had a bit of a setback last week against Everton, but they're still on course to do really, really well. And imagine after 19, 20 years, whatever it is, they get to lift that Premier League title. And imagine the feeling in that Arsenal fan base and that Arsenal team. They've waited, for some people, a lifetime. For some people, 2 lifetimes. But at least 2 decades nearly to do that. This not dissimilar to myself when Liverpool won the Premier League after 30 years. The elation of winning that, and yet it was very difficult to enjoy it because of everything surrounding it, the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, and raising trophies and no one there in front of you and all that kind of thing. It was a weird kind of sensation. But this will be a weird one as well, because what happens to those Arsenal fans in May if they lose the title and they miss out barely to Man City, who have been allowed to just continue on because this situation is going to go through a panel process, a court process, if you like. But yet the wrongs of those times, if proven, continue to roll on. And that one doesn't sit with me greatly. And look, I'm a Liverpool fan. We're in the mud. We're absolutely in the mud, mid-table. So I don't have a card in this season. But I'm just thinking going forward, how does that sit? How does it sit for all the fixtures coming up now? I know Arsenal, I think, have to play them twice. How does that sit with Arsenal fans? Those players are going to go out onto that pitch when potentially a lot of this through financial doping has been contrived. And it was interesting to see today, what broke the Premier League clubs came out. Mainly, I think it was in relation to the top six. And they said that City should be thrown out of the league. And then I also read an article saying as well that, like, the Football League are under no obligation either to take them in. So where do they go? And it's just kind of a weird one. So that's why I just wanted to do a show. It's just sitting. It's very, very strange feeling, very weird the way it's sitting with me at the moment. I remember watching that 14 season or whatever it was, the Brendan Rodgers season, and it was tough, and it was tough to see the way it came unstuck, and and then you think of the other ones as well, the one where we were watching the last day of the season and Glenn Murray scored, I think for Brighton it was, against them, and went 1-0 up, and then I think Aguero scored to equalise and stuff like that, and we were on the cusp of it, and it lasted for a few minutes, and then you think, last season, and you think we were like 15 minutes away or whatever it was from winning the league, and the disappointment of not winning it. We could have done a treble, and who knows, if we had won the league, would that wave of the quadruple, because we already had the cups, would that wave of the quadruple have taken us over the line and given us that energy that we needed to beat Real Madrid and do the quadruple? Complete football, as they say. And it's these little things, these little, like in your own personal life, these little avenues or paths that you take that change the course of your own history and changes the course of football history. And I just think it's an interesting conversation to have, where are we? Ian, where's Daz? Daz doesn't do these short ones. He's either Mondays or Thursdays, mainly Thursdays at the moment, He said to the owners, if this comes out, he's gone. Very clever. Yeah, absolutely. And in fairness, it was last year as well. He tweeted it as well, wasn't it, or something like that? That if he'd been lied to. Acer City owners are in casino. They just gone all in on roulette tables. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Absolutely. Nothing will happen simple. You think so, Morris? Do you think this can be just? Do you think the problem is if they don't take action, if they don't take some sort of action, I suppose either when it's done or in a sooner time frame, the other teams will have to call into question the league, and pressure will mount. Pressure will definitely mount. I think it's a difficult one for the Premier League as well, because you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you take City out of the league, you're somewhat damaging the product in terms of what you're trying to sell out to broadcasting and various things like that and all. So that would damage you. But if you don't take action, then you're damaging it the similar way, but in the credibility of the league and stuff like that. So it's a real difficult one. Aces in the chat, thoughts and prayers out to Jerry the King Lawler. Yeah, we heard it's gone in emergency surgery. He had a stroke, so we wish him well, Jerry the King Lawler. What a wrestler and what a commentator and what a character and stuff like that. We hope he pulls through and he's doing good. On the topic of that as well, of course, we'd like to send our thoughts and prayers as well to all the victims and the families in the Turkish earthquake. Some of the scenes there are just horrific. I don't know if you've seen some of the footage of buildings coming down with people in them and stuff like that and all that. And the Newcastle winger Atsu was found and pulled from the rubble. As far as I know, he seems to be okay. But just the death toll must be huge and stuff like that. And just to see those people just standing there and buildings just swaying and stuff like that, and then just coming down. It's frightening at times. We just don't know how lucky we are, really, to not be in the middle of that. Innocent people there in Turkey never did anything wrong, trying to go about their lives. Next thing, a massive earthquake, 8 on the scale, I think 7.9 or 8 or something like that. Next thing, buildings are coming down and stuff like that. So it's heart wrenching. So our thoughts and prayers go out to all those people and stuff like that, and we'll keep an eye on it. Morris, I don't think rewriting history will solve the emotions that were missed. No, it won't solve the emotions, and I think that's kind of the point that I'm making. That, like, you can send a Premier League winners medal to Stevie G, but it's not going to have the same effect. But there has to be some sort of, dare I say, fixing up, if you like, and I just don't think. Acers is full of all this wrestling chat. Detroit are hosting SummerSlam on Saturday, 5th of August from Ford Field. Yeah, that'll be one I'd missing, like I did with Mania in that time. Save all that, Acers. We'll be on Dynamo's Dozen tomorrow night, and as far as I know, we're doing a live show, so you'll be able to come on that and give us all the lowdown. Cheapy Productions, in relation to them winning it this season, I mean, not. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Absolutely, and that's the point I'm making, Morris. You know what I mean? You're there. You're an Arsenal fan all your life, whatever it is now, 30 years or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And for the last 20 years, you've been waiting to win a Premier League, and this season you've a fair chance of doing it. And it's how you're going to feel about that. How you're going to feel about that. Imagine how you feel in May if you see City lifting the Premier League, knowing what you know. It's going to be a tough one, and it's going to create a lot. This is going to create a lot of emotion. This is going to stir up a lot of feelings, and this is going to be quite serious. I would imagine this ain't going away anytime soon. Acers 5,000 at the moment. That's all in Turkey, and I think that's only going to climb. From the videos I've seen of buildings coming down and stuff like that, it's just, families and kids and everything else. Kyle, how are you doing, my man? Check out Kyle's channel, Kyle Walsh Gunner. Great channel out there, dropping stuff. Some fantastic stuff out there. I watch his videos all the time. A man like myself, full of emotion. Big up, Niall. It was like something out of a film saying, yeah, absolutely, man. And it's just, I think of like the families and the kids and the devastation and like, being a family man myself, it's a tough one, like imagine me running out of this house now and standing over the far side of the road there and this house just crumbling into the ground with your family in it or something like that, I mean, I can't even imagine what they're going through. Morris back in as well. There's going to be a lot of teams fired up to beat them. Yeah, there is, but the thing about it is, Morris, and I know they've been struggling this season, they've been changing their kind of patterns of play, and they've kind of changed their whole way in thinking of doing things to inject into Erling Haaland what's needed for him to do his thing. Now, we may or may not agree with that, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It's sorry about this. It's an interesting one in terms of, you can be as fired up as you want, but at the end of the day, the quality tends to shine through. I know you say it last week there. Everything got fired up against you boys and stuff like that with Deutsch and stuff like that. But just, with City, it's a different animal, different beast. I know Spurs did them and stuff like that, but it's going to be tough, and it's going to be, you guys are going to be up in arms if this goes a little bit sideways and they end up when they should be down the bottom of the table this season. Ian's back in. Shout out to my good friend Dermot Potter, big time Man City fan. Hope all is well, bud. Yeah, shout out to Dermot Potter. And Dermot, please, if you've subscribed to the channel and stuff like that, jump in the chat and let us know what you think about these things, how you feel about it. Do you think the club will be vindicated and cleared of the charges? And if they weren't, how do you feel about your club and what do you think would happen and all that kind of thing. Morris, you may tell him to go back to Chelsea in. Yeah. And Acer's in there as well. God, I couldn't stand to listen to Ian Kelly live, just like Dane Douglas fingernails on chalkboard. Jesus. Oh God. But yeah, let's talk. Let's get an update here. On them. We spoke on some of the stuff. Let's chat about some of the stuff coming out in the papers today. So obviously we spoke about the clubs. They want them thrown out of the league if these are proven and all that kind of stuff. And the football league said that they're under no obligation either to take them in and stuff like that, which was quite damning. And we're also we were hearing stuff today that there was stuff out there that maybe it was there was leaks from an inside job and stuff like that. And I was interested to hear that because they posted this up, and I was thinking, if someone on the inside is leaking this stuff, or has been, or had been, that's quite damning in itself, really, isn't it? To think that there must be something there. Warren's team talk. How are you, Warren? Hope you're doing well. I didn't catch the rugby show there, so I'm not a huge rugby man myself, to be honest. Have the build for it, but just not the patience, if you like. But yeah, Warren, check out Warren's team talk, pumping out shows all the time. Great stuff. And man, also I'm not happy with the Gooners at the moment and what they're doing. But check out his show on a Saturday as well. The show's a great show. Absolutely brilliant. Warren, was it Cancelo who was the mole? It's gas, Warren, innit? I was looking at this today and I was listening to it and I was thinking, the first thing I thought was Joe Cancelo. And the next thing I thought of was Balotelli or something like that. You know what I mean? Just someone crazy, or David Silva maybe, or something like that, or maybe Aguero himself. Like Aguero, you got to remember Aguero as well. He was kind of he was somewhat shafted by them in that last season, wasn't he? Yeah, Morris sees maybe Mendy is leaking from jail. Those charges keep dropping. You can imagine cutting a deal or something like that, turn state witness or something like that. This is the making. I tell you, Amazon, if you're looking, get on this now. This is the makings of something huge, you know what I mean? Let's see what the latest updates are. So, one, Arsene Wenger said the real breaches can't go unpunished to protect the integrity in the game. He says, I was always for control over financial rules and that clubs work within the natural income they have. The rules that have been created, said Wenger at that year's Laureus Awards. I'm convinced that at the moment there is evolution to be made in the way the rules are at the moment, but they are what they are and you have to respect them. Yeah, we've heard that today as well, that some fans have been coming out, Man City fans, and they've been saying that but your FFP is bullshit anyway. And we're right. Most of us don't think it's great. But that's the rule. That's the rule. It's like the rule for drink driving, You can't turn around to a policeman or a guard if he pulls you over and you've been drinking, and you turn around and say, God, I only had one, if you're not allowed of any. You know what I mean? The rules are the rules. Warren, you boys, you are some boys are going deep tonight. I tell it. Can you imagine? I thought, are they not best buds, him and Pep? Oh my God. I was just thinking, God, I was doing, my brain was doing somersaults today. I was thinking, can you imagine if it got really toxic at Liverpool and Klopp left and Pep came in? Or can you imagine if Pep ended up at Arsenal, or, if Potter went and Pep ended up at Chelsea? I was thinking of all these permutations and all. It was just, my mind was going 90 today, What else is being reported? A points deduction on the way. The most likely outcome if they're found guilty of the actions may against minor points deduction. That would be embarrassing. That would be embarrassing. If they're found guilty, a minor points deduction. That's just telling other teams. So look, we may as well go out then and we may all throw financial fair play in the bin. And sure, look, if we're going to win all these titles and win all these trophies over a 14-year period, sure, if you're only going to get a minor points deduction, sure, it's worth it. That's no punishment at all. That couldn't happen. City have appointed a top lawyer. That's the news from 2 hours ago. Lord Panic KC to defend them against the charges. Um, this lad charges $5,000 an hour. This will tell you the level. And has been known to ask up to 10 grand an hour. 10 grand an hour. And he'll be putting in serious hourage. So that'll be kind of a fairly hefty bill, I would imagine. Touré's agent came out, Dimitri Seluk, and he's insisted that no additional payments were received in relation to the contract. Now, everything was transparent. He said there was nothing on the backside. Nothing. I love the way they talk about this. They're so familiar with the lingo and the language and all, aren't they? Like, it's gas these days. There was nothing on the backside, told the Guardian. I'm interested to see what happens, as this was a surprise. Yaya paid everything, tax and everything. It was all transparent. When asked if he would be prepared to assist the commission with their inquiries, he added, "Of course, I would tell them the same." Interesting. The next news that came out, obviously earlier or later this afternoon, was Guardiola could leave before sanctions hit anyway. That's the case. I mean, it could get and then the interesting thing on like this is how flippant this is in their eyes. You know, they came out first of all like, we're so surprised of these charges, you know, and then you get this. According to the Athletic, City held transfer meetings on Monday. Manchester City officials held meetings on Monday to discuss potential transfers in spite of the uncertainty over the club's immediate future, according to the Athletic. It is said that the defending Premier League champions are likely to press ahead with their recruitment plans for the summer window. These guys don't give a shit. They really don't. Morris back in. Pep could be Arteta's assistant next year. Can you imagine? Be the other way around, I'd imagine, but like it'd be. Let me know what you think. Would you take Pep in? Would you take Pep in? Didn't Swindon Town get relegated 2 divisions a few years ago for financial irregularities? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, but it's like this is, you know what I mean? There's a reason. Like people have to understand. There's like whether you like financial fair play, you don't, or whether your owners spend money or they don't, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these rules are there to, you know, provide a certain amount of protection for teams that we see fall by the wayside and stuff like that and all. And that's why we have to be so careful of it and stuff like that. Ian reckons Tony Cannell saved today. Now, I'd say Fulham are all right, man. Fulham are all right. Acers. So if City lose all title wins, United have another 3 Premier League titles. That's right. I think it's 3 for United. It's 3 for United and 3 for Liverpool, I think. And then it depends what happens over the next couple of years, obviously, as well. But then there's the little matter of, you know, Carabao Cups or FA Cups and Community Shields and all that kind of stuff. Look, that's for further down the line and stuff like that. But certainly, it's you know, Lance Armstrong was made give us 7 yellow jerseys back. That's all I'll say. Simon Jordan on Talksport today. He had an interesting slant on it. He had a great head-to-head with a City fan as well. Check it out if you get a chance. It was absolutely brilliant. He shut him down big time. But the former Crystal Palace owner, Simon Jordan, believes that the Premier League won't have the balls to expel Manchester City from the division. So you can see already this whole thing, it's ratcheting up. This is ratcheting up. He said instead Jordan believes that a points deduction is more likely. Expulsion from the league could be catastrophic for the Sky Blues, with the EFL under no obligation to fit them into their 72-team pyramid. My view is that I don't think they will get booted out of the Premier League. I don't think the Premier League will have the balls won't be that big, but they will be if they find them guilty, which I have my views on that. They will certainly give them points deductions, but I don't think they will boot them out of the league. That's Simon Jordan's view on it. And the Premier League rivals, certainly if it's proven, they want them relegated out of the division. So it'll be interesting to see. Wonder how much Dortmund really got for Haaland. It was pretty cut price, wasn't it? I think if I'm right, I think what was out there, I think it was 55 million was the deal, which to me was eye opening. That was the Dortmund money. Then the dad got 10 million, the agent got 10 million, and then I think his wages is something astronomical. I think if he hits targets or something like that, this could end up being 400, 500, 600 grand a week or something like that. It's something massive. Whatever happens, Liverpool will still be bigger than United. Love it, Warren. Thanks for that. Really appreciate that. You're picking me up from the doldrums that I'm in. Acers, the most likely outcome of this investigation will be a massive fine and points deduction and transfer bans. Okay. Let me think about this. So a massive fine. What's a massive fine? These are multi-billionaires. They're swimming in oceans of cash. So the fine would be irrelevant. You're fining billionaires millions. It's a waste of time. We've seen it in the UEFA investigation. It was laughable, really. A points deduction. When you talk about a points deduction, how many points are you talking about here? Let us know. You're talking about 15 points, 20 points, 30 points. Because you think about it, you could, as I said at the start of the show, you could deduct City 20 points. They still probably have a good chance of making top four, even though the pressure would be on and stuff like that. But they could do it. In terms of transfer bans, I think what City will do is if they feel there's transfer bans coming down the line, if this is proven and stuff like that, they're just going to ratchet up and they're going to pad out the squad for the next 2 to 3 windows or whatever it is, aren't they? So they probably won't be overly affected by it. They'll have in place what they need. And as we've said before, I mean, look, of all the teams in the league, when you look at City, when they have their starting 11 on the pitch and then you look at their bench would walk into most of the top 6, if not all of them. So it doesn't really, a transfer ban doesn't really hold too much. Big up, my man, True City fan. How are you? Big up to the show. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know your thoughts, man. What do you think? What way do you think this is going down and stuff like that and all, and how do you feel about it? Let me know how you feel about it at the moment when stuff hasn't been proven and stuff like that. I mean, the football world has gone crazy on it. But also let me know if it was proven, how do you feel about it? How would you feel about it then? That compliment made Niall's evening, Warren. Yeah, it did. It cheered me up big time. Liverpool absolutely in the mud at the moment. In the mud. True City fan. I have a feeling the relegation thing will happen. I think a transfer ban will happen and a fee paid. Stuff like that. Yeah. That's probably going to be, if proven, of course, that's probably going to be a more realistic outcome and stuff like that. How do you feel? Let me ask you this, because you're on and stuff like that. How do you feel about the trophy side of thing, the titles side of thing, the moments? I mean, you've had some unbelievable moments as a Man City fan over the last 10, 12, 14 years. It's been incredible. The Aguero goal, all that kind of stuff. How do you feel about all that stuff? I mean, obviously you lived through it and you loved it and all that kind of stuff. But now when you look back, if it was proven again, how would you feel about it and stuff like that? And it's great. And listen, thanks a million for jumping on as well. It's great to have you here in the chat and stuff like that to talk about it, because you're in the cold face of it, basically. The stretching the evenings is coming back. Great to see. That's our weather reporter there, Morris. Good man. Thanks, Ian, but I believe in that is the thing. Oh, I hope so. True City fan back in. I feel that it's always been a witch hunt, mate. From start, we were being trapped because FFP was designed for us, but the club says we will settle. I feel that everyone is always against us. Listen, that just comes with you're always going to get that. That comes with success. Anytime you're successful. So look, when Liverpool went out and won the Champions League, they were all coming for us. When we won that Premier League after 30 years, they were all coming for us. Everything. Remember them talking about us being on asthma inhalers and all sorts of stuff. We must have ran out of them this season or something like that, So they're always going to come for you when you're sitting on top of that pile, and not only sitting on top of that pile. And like I always say, like, we have pushed you guys so hard for the last 4 to 5 years. It's absolutely after aging and draining our squad. That's why we're in the mud this season. We're mentally and physically fatigued from chasing you boys down. If trophies back again, true City fan, if trophies will be taken, it will hurt bad and it will be depressing. Yeah, it is. It's a tough one as well, because it'll hurt you guys so bad. But also it'll be little solace really to the teams and the players that receive them as well, because it's kind of like, it's like us celebrating a league when during COVID, isn't it? It's just not what it should be, you know what I mean? Ian, what's happening, Warren? If we cheated, then we need to be punished, but I ask that going forward, let's be transparent with everyone. 100%. And I think this is going to have a knock-on effect as well, because I think what you're going to see is you could potentially see a much stricter, like we know Newcastle with the Saudi owners, and they had to prove a lot of stuff as well in relation to the ownership and stuff like that, and the links, the state links and all that kind of stuff. But I think going forward, you're going to have a much more harsher, dare I say, fit and proper test from the FA and the Premier League in terms of club ownership and stuff like that. We've seen the pitfalls of the Glazers buying Man United on debt. That'll never be allowed again. And obviously the spending and all that sort of stuff, Success sometimes comes with a price. It does absolutely. Sheffield United beat Wrexham 3-1 with 2 goals in injury time. Nice. Sheffield United are on a tear at the moment. I think this is massive psychological blow to the current players, and I feel it's going to be difficult for them to get over the line with all that's going on. It may be, except the other thing as well it could do is, and I'm sure a true City fan will talk to me about this as well, this could galvanise them, because, look at that United team back in the 90s and 2000s and stuff like that. Everyone hated them and everyone was against them and stuff like that. And it galvanized them and spurred them on to do more and more and more and better and lift their game and stuff like that. So this actually could work out if Pep is really clever about this. This could be the motivational thing he needs to pull that squad back together in terms of performance at the moment. Go, listen, everyone's out against us. Everyone's coming for us and stuff like that. You show them that you're better than this and all that. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be, because he's a real motivational guy as well. So I think this could, you could see this open the performance, depending on what's going on internally and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure this can't be a surprise to everyone involved at the club, when is the feature? Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Reynolds in the mud. Ryan Reynolds in the mud. God, they just and I kind of feel sad for him as well, because they were so close, weren't they? They were so close. He could taste it. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the cup, isn't it? True City fan. They have to do better. They can't do worse as a team. Liverpool and City not fearing anymore. Listen, man, you are doing a lot better than us. You are still in the shaking for a title, as bad as sometimes you've been playing. We are absolutely horrendous at every level. It's no fair at all. Just got everything coming to Anfield this week and stuff like that. Good Lord have mercy on us. Warren, if they investigate Edu's deals at Arsenal, we're in trouble, paying $3 million for a player who was available on a free. Oh, I tell you, this is JFK stuff, isn't it? This is going to be magic bullet theory stuff and all. Like eventually everyone will be just getting investigated, won't it? And I think I was listening to Terry's channel today, the Football Terrace, and he had the live show with Lee Gunner. And Lee was making the point, are all these clubs squeaky clean? Has no one broken any laws, Thought Thoughts on the Klopp out moment? It's Everton away, yes. No, I think we're at home, isn't it? It's at Anfield, as far as I know. Yeah, I think we're at Anfield. Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I think if things don't go right against Everton this week, and I think if things go really sour with the Real Madrid games, um, I think we're going to be in there. I think we're going to be in serious trouble, and I think it's well, we're in serious trouble as it is, because I don't see us having European football next season, and certainly not at the level that we'd want. So yeah, I don't know. I find it hard to separate the two. Look, I love the man. I love for what he did for us and all that kind of stuff, and what he was able to achieve with a certain group of players and stuff like that. And I think it's just, I'd be interested to see if he has an appetite for the rebuild as well, or does he need time away. He really considered his time before he re-signed again as well and stuff like that. He might be rethinking that now, you know. True City fan. A lot of shit will open up soon. League Gunner is to go. Yeah, you must have been enjoying him today, were you? He fought hard against Teddy. He was fighting Man City's corner all the way. You know what I mean? And it was an interesting one. A lot of fans were a bit sort of fed up with it and stuff like that. But he certainly fought your corner today and stuff like that. You know, so we'll see how it goes. Warren back in. That was against the world stuff was all Fergie's doing. He did exactly the same at Aberdeen. Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, for some of them, it works a treat. The Klopp out movement, my bad. Yeah, I look. I don't. The thing I always say on here when I'm on here is I never judge a fan. There's no such thing as this fan or that fan or that fan. Everyone's just a fan. And it's the same, you know, every fan is entitled to their opinion. If you're Klopp in, you're Klopp in. If you're Klopp out, you're Klopp out. If you're sitting on the fence, it's all good. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? It's becoming difficult at the moment. You can see with his reactions in the pressers and in the post-match press conferences and the stuff that he comes out with and stuff. And you seen him the other day shutting down James Pearce and stuff like that over previous articles and stuff like that. Mainly, I think, related to the Virgil van Dijk situation. And, you know, the man is under serious pressure. He's in there. I know he had this at Dortmund, but having at Dortmund is one thing, but doing this at Liverpool and such a monumental drop off, and like the British press are just absolute savages when they smell blood on that carcass. Excuse the pun from last weekend, but the Wolves just feast on it, don't they? And it's getting very, very tetchy now. So we shall see what happens. Next 3 weeks are going to be absolutely critical. I was on Terry's yesterday twice, and I was outnumbered, so Lee made my day. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, look, they're gonna sling the mud at you. What can you do? You know what I mean? You just have to, you just have to push your chest out and do what you do. Look, I read today that your club was having transfer meetings and all for the summer and stuff like that. You just got to fall into that line. You know what I mean? What else can you do? Lads get outnumbered on that show all the time. It's mad. They just go in hard. And look, it's it's hard to defend it, but it's hard not to defend it as well, because none of it's proven yet. It's all conjecture and alleged. So, in theory, right now as we sit here, Man City haven't done anything wrong. Warren, same talk. I think if you lose against Everton on Monday, I think it will get really tricky for Jurgen. Warren, it's already really tricky for Jurgen. It's really, really tricky at the moment. Ain't that Mr. Klopp problem again? Yeah, it's absolutely there. True City fan. Like the video, lads. Support the channel. Good content. Unfortunately, I'm the City part-time rep on the terrace. Yeah, no problem at all, man. Yeah, love the content over there and stuff like that. And look, listen, you follow your club, so keep on fighting for it. No sense in throwing in the towel in the third round. You're lawyering up. You feel like you have a defense. You're gonna defend it. Let's see what comes out of it. It's probably gonna take a bit of time. But I just think it's going to get, like, I'm a Liverpool fan. Our fan base is as toxic as hell at the moment. I'm sure people see that and stuff like that, But I think for you guys as well, it's going to get quite toxic with the league against you and all these teams. So yeah, absolutely. Warren in the comments, when he was managing Aberdeen, the games against Rangers in particular were literally like a war. Absolutely. It's that kind of football, Warren, don't we? It's that kind of real, that bite, that William Wallace kind of thing coming down the hill, you know. Dublin accent, yes, absolutely Dublin accent. I'm actually based in Wicklow, though. I live in Wicklow, just outside Dublin. It's right adjacent to it. But yeah, thick Dublin accents. Yeah, I lived in Dublin most of my life, and parents are from inner city Dublin. So yeah, absolutely Dublin accent. Spot on, man. Great. I'm in Clare. You're in Clare Hall. Oh no way! Seriously, man. Absolutely, I know Clare Hall well. Absolutely, very good, interesting, good stuff. We'll have to start doing some content, get some good stuff going and stuff like that. City fans are they're hard to come by, man. I find it real difficult to find them as well at times, especially for this kind of stuff. Yeah, you're in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, absolutely, Clare Hall. Yeah, over there, just on the what's it there, just before Finglas, isn't it? Just on the close enough to Finglas and stuff like that and all. Yeah, because Ian, who comes on the show, actually, true City fan. Ian, who comes on the show, he does the Chelsea Roar. He's a Chelsea fan, and we also do Dynamos, doesn't we? Do the pro wrestling podcast. He's based over there in Finglas, so not too far away from me. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we like each other's stuff and all on Twitter and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a small world, isn't it? Small world. But yeah, I love it. Love the stuff that you're putting out there and stuff like that. Love the passion and the defense of your club. Everything else around us is going to shit. I'm the same this season. Everything else around us is going to shit. It's like being in a war or something. Look, one of those old war movies like Saving Private Ryan, or everything's falling apart around you, and you still come out with the content, and we still find a way to figure out what's good and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, thanks for jumping on, stuff like that. Really appreciate it. But yeah, that's all I really had to say on it. I just, had mixed emotions last night. I felt like 1 minute I felt like Marty McFly. Liverpool and City fans need a union. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, man. I tell you what, if you want, you could send over a few of your bench players. We'd gladly take them. Could you terminate their contracts and we'll sign them up, do a Matt Doherty on them or something like that? We could do with a few players. Warren's in. Apparently, Don Carlo is in trouble at Madrid. They won the World Club Cup and are currently second in the league. That is insane, in my opinion. Yeah, they're struggling as well. They have had a few injuries and stuff like that as well. Maybe they're struggling with that new pitch, are they, with all the changes they did in the Bernabeu and stuff like that. Warren, it'd be just like you to be talking down Real Madrid before they arrive into town and absolutely pump us. Good Lord. You're talking them down, which is going to make me feel even worse because I know they're not on a great run and stuff like that. And we're still going to get skilled. Oh, God. True City fan. Get De Bruyne and Bernardo. Give us Van Dijk. I do that trade in a second. I drive over there and I'd swap them myself in a van. Absolutely. Not a problem. Yeah, it's a weird one for you as well, isn't it? De Bruyne sitting on the bench. Bernardo talking about wanting to leave and stuff like that. He was talking about going to Spain, and then there was talk Mbappe wanted him at PSG and stuff like that. And then also, it's a strange one, isn't it? Like, it's just I don't know what's happened to both of us. It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad. Well, listen, this was supposed to be quite a short show. It's nearly after running an hour. I hope people appreciate that I just spent an hour of my evening talking about the situation at Man City, being a Liverpool fan. We will be back. I'm supposed to be back tomorrow night with a short show, talking about the Jesse Marsh situation and was he treated harsh, or was it the right decision to make by Leeds, and where do they find themselves now and how it will affect them and stuff like that. So we'll go all through that tomorrow. Hope you can join us for that as well. Yeah. Absolutely, really appreciate it. Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Love talking about football. So let's see that Leeds show tomorrow night. We'll also be doing Dynamos Dozen. I think it's going to come to you live on StreamYard as well. So if you're a pro wrestling fan and you're interested in pro wrestling, jump on and have a chat with us about what's going on. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with Jerry the King Lawler, who suffered a stroke, I think, earlier today and has been admitted to a Florida hospital, having surgery and stuff like that. We hope he pulls through. One of the legends of the game and stuff like that. So, yeah, tomorrow night, double act Dynamos Dozen with Ian. And I'll also be on doing a show on Harsh Jesse Marsh. Warren back in. Celtic should have smashed them earlier in the season. Yeah. And always call me for city features. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be in touch and we'll do something. I am available. Yeah, absolutely. We'll put some stuff together and we'll have a laugh, see how things go and all. Like, it's, I would have loved to be doing this stuff when we were both battling it out and stuff like that. Now you're battling it out and I'm in the mud. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Good Lord. Appreciate it, guys. As always, like on the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you want to contact us, the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. They'll get us out there on a daily basis and dropping our views. Let us know if you agree. If you're looking on the replay as well, also hit the like. And let us know in the comments what you think as well. It's been a fun show there. Thanks to True City Fan for coming on, giving his thoughts on his team. Thanks to Warren and all the boys and Morris and all and Kyle. Check out their channels as well. Doing some great stuff out there at the moment. Sometimes it bubbles over. Sometimes it smiles and sometimes it's tears. But never a dull moment when it comes to football. Till next time, folks, an absolute pleasure.